Rick Horrow keeping score in the boardroom. As we normally do, we get industry leaders who are the best at their business to talk about the business of sports. We're here at the Colangelo School of Business at Grand Canyon University. Is it the Fighting Antelopes or just the Antelopes?
Antelopes.
The Antelopes fight, so it's the Antelopes. Jerry asked me as if I should know, but obviously I should. The most well-kept secret until today and beyond of what Jerry Colangelo is doing at this stage of his career, and it's been a lofty career. Jerry Colangelo, how are you?
I'm doing fine, Rick. Nice to be with you.
Thank you, as always. When we do these interviews from time to time, you are at various stages of a successful career arc, which nobody else has had through business. So start early with your career, University of Illinois, before. When did it happen that you realized that you weren't going to the NBA and you wanted to do something else?
Probably the first time I stepped on a basketball court, that realization. But look, I owe everything that happened in my life to the game of basketball. I got an education. I met all kinds of people. I traveled the world. And a lot of things happened in my life because of the game. I'm very indebted.
And as I remember it at Illinois, you were at Kansas, and then Will Chamberlain, it didn't really work out time-wise, so you decided to transfer to Illinois.
Well, only because Will Chamberlain quit school at Kansas, and when he did, I did too, and transferred to my home state school.
And he transferred to his home state school, but he took the number 23 and used it because he figured that Michael Jordan ultimately would have to buy number 23 from him. Is that right? Not really. Right?
It didn't work out that way. He didn't pay for it, unfortunately.
So fast forward ahead, NBA, all the things that you've done with the NBA, a very successful career as a management guy with the Suns, obviously very close to the World Championship here. How for people that don't know, how close did you come?
Well, we came very close. In fact, the Phoenix Suns have the fourth best record in the history of the NBA in terms of win-loss percentage. Close but no cigar as it relates to a championship. And we were in the finals twice. We should have been in the finals another 3 or 4 times. And as I look back, we should have won 2 or 3 titles, but it wasn't meant to be. But it was a great run, and I started the franchise way back in 1968. I coached them twice in the early years. I managed as GM. I ended up putting a group together to buy the team in 1987 for $40 million, and then in 2004 we sold for $400 million. And so that was a great run. And I look back on those days with fond memories.
Look back at those days on fond memories and a maybe second thought about when you sold and how you sold, that since Steve Ballmer bought the Clippers for $2 billion?
So one might say that I sold too early because things were about to change, but that took more than a decade for that change to take place. And I don't look back on those situations thankful for what did take place.
Let's talk about what did take place in the baseball diamond. We know you're a Cub fan. Last time we did this, the Cubs had not won the World Series yet, but of course they have recently. But your inspiration for Major League Baseball in the Valley was born at Wrigley Field. Tell us about it.
It was. Chicago was home originally, and I did grow up a Cub fan. And it's interesting, when the Diamondbacks won the World Series, which I also started back in 1998, which was our first season. We won a World Series in our 4th year, the quickest ever in the history of baseball to win a World Series. And the irony being, after all those years chasing an NBA title, again, close but not winning, here we were in our 4th year, and we win a World Series in baseball. That was really ironic for me.
Baseball heading in the right direction with Commissioner Manfred?
Rob's a good man. I had a chance to get to know him over the years in baseball, which was about a decade, and I think he was the right man for the job.
So let's segue into international basketball. We have a lot to cover. Obviously, a commitment to continuing the gold medal tradition of USA basketball over time. Done it, will continue to do it. Look back on that. how comfortable are you with where it's been, and also, more importantly, under Coach Pop, where it's going?
Well, 12 years ago, I was asked to take over USA Basketball, and it was at a time when it needed to be restructured. We did that. We thus went on to win 3 gold medals in '08, '12, and '16. And this ring here represents the 2016 gold medal winning team in Rio. And there's one more left in me, which is Tokyo in 2020. And Coach Popovich at San Antonio will be the coach replacing one of the great coaches of all time in pro and college, Coach Krzyzewski at Duke. And these last 12 years have been very, very rewarding.
So, from a perspective of USA Basketball, how difficult was it to sustain the brand? There were peaks, but there were also valleys. So, when you started taking over, and part of your desire was to take guys who had money wasn't that important to them, but they're playing for pride, basically, that first gold medal year, was it the hardest?
Yeah, I think we had to sell something, and that was a vision and an idea that we needed to change a culture. We wanted players to feel it was important to represent your country, and they would look at it with pride. And we set out to do that back in '06. And in '08, we were ready. When we went to Beijing, players had bought in to the concept, and I promised them it would be one of the great experiences of their life if they were to buy in, and they did, and it was. And so we've been able to keep this thing on an upward curve ever since. And right now, the USA Basketball program is stocked full. It's loaded. All the junior teams are gold medalists in the world today, and we should be successful for a long, long time.
We'll get to Grand Canyon in a minute, because that's really what I want to focus on. But it's December 7, 2015. December 7th, that Pearl Harbor. You were appointed head of the Sixers on Pearl Harbor Day? Is that correct?
I don't remember if it fell on that date, but yes.
All right. Well, and the task was take a team that was really in the dumps, putting it mildly, and take, notwithstanding the tradition of Dr. J and Will Chamberlain, et cetera, and turn it into a playoff contender. And you may be almost there. How'd you start?
Well, basically to take stock and inventory about what was there, and there seemed to me to be something missing in management. And so we restructured management. I now serve in a capacity as a consultant to ownership, because there is a structure in place, and a good one. And it's actually led by Brian Colangelo, who is a 2-time Executive of the Year in the NBA, and he now is running the franchise. And a lot of things have happened very quickly in 1 year, let alone 3, that I predicted we needed in order to really become, responsible again. So that's been a fun experience again. Most everything I've ever done has been startups. Yeah. When you look at my participation in starting the Bulls, the Suns, the Diamondbacks, restructuring Philadelphia, and I'm going to call Grand Canyon a startup too, because I think back when I got involved, it was pretty close to that.
Great segue. My interview structure, I can determine the order of the questions. So let's talk about startup at Grand Canyon. How's that? You're absolutely, sure. This is perfect. So we start your interest at Grand Canyon, Division III school. Take us through, because I know how passionate you are about this process. So take us through where this was and where it is today.
Well, Grand Canyon was a small little school on the west side of Phoenix just, 5-6 years ago. But it had some tradition in basketball. Individuals like John Shoemate and Paul Westphal, who played in the NBA, played for the Suns, were coaches at one time here at Grand Canyon, but it was competing on a very low level. There were 1,000 or less students here at the school at the time. But things changed when the real turnaround for the university was wanting to become much more than just a small little college. And under the leadership of Brian Mueller, it just started to take off. And in just these 5 years, you look at the number of students on campus, which is over 17,000 today, over $600 million in infrastructure to build out this campus, and there's much more to go. And it's going to top out at close to 30,000 students when it's all said and done. We're now in Division I. This is the 4th year of paying our dues, and next year we're eligible for the tournament. And we've got great leadership under Coach Dan Marley, a former Phoenix Sun, a guy we drafted some years ago. One of the most popular players ever to wear a Phoenix Suns uniform was Dan Marley. And so, you know, this whole situation is one of the great stories in the country, in my opinion, in terms of having a vision, an idea, a plan, and watch it executed before your eyes. If you saw the campus today and didn't see it again until a month from now, you would see incredible change. That's how quickly this whole thing is happening.
And Brian Mueller, and we'll talk to him a little later too, with his University of Phoenix experience coming here, it's really, as you said earlier, the hybrid model between the students who are on campus and the online world as well. It's a mix that looks like it sets the stage for the future.
You know, it's meeting the needs of a community to begin with. I think every community should have options as it relates to education. You know, back in the Midwest and in the East, there are corners in those cities, big cities, where there are 3 or 4 colleges on the same corner. That hasn't been the case here in Arizona, and I've been here since '68, and I believe understand the history of education here in our state. So, you know, young people people of all ages should have an option in terms of getting an education. Some people need online because of their commitments, their family, their work. Others who can have the experience on campus, this is a great place to feel safe regarding putting your kids on a campus that has the right ethical and moral standards that go along with a college experience. And so there's a great thing going here.
And as a sports business guy, I do appreciate the fact that we have students here who are attending the Colangelo School of Business. So you obviously feel strongly enough to lend your name to this institution.
Well, that's been fun for me because I've been around long enough that a lot of things they're studying today, you know, I helped start those things many, many years ago. That's 50 years of experience. So I try to share with students here attending the university some of those experiences. And when you can do that firsthand, I think it has great merit. So I think we have a strong business school, and it's going to get stronger. I think the sports piece of it is extremely strong, and I'm very proud of that.
So part of our day today is the Grand Canyon Colangelo School of Business joint venturing with Guggenheim Life and Dan Towers to talk about the not only Arizona Sports Day in the Sun, but the social obligation of what it means to have a program giving back, fields, training. What's your overall take of how important it is to use sports as a vehicle to do good?
You know, on my first day in Arizona, when I was introduced as the youngest general manager in pro sports back then in 1968, I made a statement. I said, this community owes us nothing. It's up to us to earn the respect and support of the community by how we conduct ourselves as citizens, how we give back to the community. And that's always been the way I have felt, and all the people who have worked for me and all the teams, that's been what we do. It's all about that. You know, when people look back or ask you the question, what do you want to be remembered for? You want to be remembered not for accomplishments or wins. It's about what did you make your community a better place in which to live? Did you have impact on people that was positive? Did you do something good? What did you leave behind? And so I think the school here has a major commitment to giving back to the community, and they are doing it in spades.
And we have a lot of work to do. We have 2 hours of seminar, so appreciate your time. But one final question. I don't know if people in the audience remember Joe Namath. Joe Namath, come on, we all remember. But, you know, we're old. We don't know. And Joe Namath gave a guarantee for Super Bowl, and it was one of those things. You don't know if he was doing it sober or not, but it came to pass. So you are effectively the architect of a new top 25 basketball program. How long does it take for Grand Canyon to get to the Final Four?
Well, first of all, I'm not taking credit for that. What I would say is Brian Mueller's commitment to wanting Grand Canyon basketball to be in the top 25, everyone is bought into. And so, you know, we do have some people that have influence in the game of basketball here, and we're using that influence to try to speed up the process. And so there's no reason why we couldn't be there in a few years. We're going to be eligible for tournament play next year. All we need is 2 or 3 players, and we'll be there.
The best thing about Mr. Colangelo, and I've known him for a long time, is he can give you a non-answer, but it makes you feel like you got a definite answer, and I'm ready to go play for the Antelopes right now. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you. Thanks, Rick.
Appreciate it. That was really good. Thanks, everybody.